By what name are you known?
There are some who call me Tim.
Welcome to another episode of Timmy Talks, the channel where we talk old school magic. And today we are here at the X-Points Dutch Open Tournament. Yes, I'm going to start the video series here with a first round match between Joris and Wouter. And I'm just really looking forward to the series. Of course, I was at the tournament as well. And X-Points, it all started in the Netherlands by a Dutchman named Louis, nicknamed Lucky, and he organizes this event. It's all the way in Roosendaal, which is a little place of nowhere in the Netherlands, but I'm very happy to go out there and visit this tournament every single year, because I mean, this is the man himself organizing the event. That is something special. So Lucky, just a shout out to you, thank you for the format, and I think you're very, you can be very proud of what you've created, you know. And of course, there's so many people supporting X-Points out there in the community. Like I said, this is a first round match. We have Joris, who is on a Fungusaur deck. So I'm really looking forward to look at this deck in action. It's red and green. I love it. And he's taking on Wouter, and Wouter is basically playing white, red, splash a little bit of black in there. It's kind of a mid-range deck. It's pretty cool as well. Very creature heavy, both of these decks. So I always look forward to seeing a lot of combat action in today's episode. But before I start with the decks, I would first like to point out that, as always, you can also choose to go to the match first, check out the decks later. The easiest way to do this is by checking out the description below, because there you will find several timestamps. One of those timestamps reads MTG Games. And in that same description below, you can also find more information about the rules and how to get in contact with the X-Points community. And there's also a little tiny link to the Timmy Talks Patreon page, because yes, I have my very own Patreon program. So if you enjoy the content that I make, please consider becoming a patron of the show. Check out patreon.com/TimmyTalks. Okay, and now that you're fully informed, I'm going to continue with the decks. I'm going to start with the deck of the player on the left, that is Joris. Let's take a look at his Fungusaur brew. And here we see the deck of Joris. So it's black and green, and it's really built around two cards specifically that work together quite well and take me back, you know, to the days of Chandelar. And those two cards are Fungusaur and Pestilence. Maybe start with Fungusaur. It's a creature for 1 green and 3, a 2/2 that reads, I'm just going to read the current Oracle text. Whenever Fungusaur is dealt damage, put a +1/+1 counter on it. So it means when you're playing with this creature, you want to find a card that can deal damage to it. For example, a Protocol Sorcerer. Or another really good option is this card, Pestilence. That's the card we're seeing in this deck. So this is an enchantment for 2 black and 2 that reads, at the beginning of the end step, if no creatures are on the battlefield, sacrifice Pestilence. And for 1 black, Pestilence deals 1 damage to each creature and each player. So if you use Pestilence just once, the Fungusaur is going to get a +1/+1 counter, turn into a 3/3, and then after the damage is resolved, you can use your Pestilence again, and you really have your own way to grow your Fungusaur to really big heights. And at the same time, you're also dealing damage to all the other creatures on the table, meaning you're probably going to take out some of the creatures of your opponent, and then you have your giant Fungusaur to attack with. So I think that is really good. Now, there are a few non-bows in this deck that don't go that well with Pestilence. For example, the 4 Birds of Paradise. But I do understand why Joris has put them in, because ramping is so important, because this is more than just, you know, a Fungusaur Pestilence deck. It's also quite an aggressive deck. You know, he's playing 4 Urnums. He's playing with 4 Whirling Dervish. Whirling Dervish, of course, a very good combination with the Pestilence, because it's got protection from black. So he's playing those 1/1 creatures that can filter any mana into black mana. They work together really well with the Drain Lives, which is also quite nice. So there are some synergies. He's also playing with 3 Pendelhavens in the deck. And of course, for the reason that with the 3 Pendelhavens, you can pump your 1/1 creatures, which he has 8 of in total. And that also, again, works together really well with the Pestilence. So, I mean, I think it all kind of makes sense. And what I wanted to say about the Birds of Paradise, you want to have them early game. They want to help you ramp up to cast your Fungusaur, cast your Urnum Djinn, cast your Pestilence. Make sure you have your double black, for example, those Himturex. Once they've done that, they've done their job, and it's okay if they die. You know, obviously you didn't put Pestilence in to kill your own Birds of Paradise, but if you're all set up, you don't really need that anymore, and it's fine if they die. So again, I do understand that he's put that in this deck. One of the things that I'm missing a little bit in the deck, and I'm also looking at the sideboard where I don't see it. Well, I see one card, because I wanted to talk about land removal. I see 1 Ice Storm here. I think the risk with these strategies is that, yeah, you're going to have a really big Fungusaur, but what if your opponent has just one Maze of If. Then you're already going to be in trouble. Now, of course, you do have a single strip mine, and your Pestilence deals damage even though you have a Maze. That doesn't matter. But if you play creature heavy, I always kind of like to have at least a few land destruction cards main. But that's just me. That's just me. Ignore me. Feel free to ignore me. I'm just curious to see how this is going to end up. I don't even know if Wouter is playing Maze of If. Talking about that, let's take a look at his deck. And here we see the deck of Wouter, and look at that. He's not playing a single Maze of If, so there's nothing to worry about for Joris. What he is playing with, though, is a lot of creature removal, 4 Swords to Plowshares, 2 Fireballs, an Earthquake, 4 Lightning Bolts. So this is quite an interesting mix of cards, right? You can see a lot of elements from Pink Weenie coming back into this, but there are way more bigger creatures in this deck. And because you're playing with bigger creatures, the deck automatically gets a little bit slower and a little bit more towards the control vibe, I guess. So he's playing with 3 Savannah Lines, not a full play set, so that's quite interesting. He's playing with 3 Granite Gargoyles, so the 2/2 flyers that you can give +0/+1 for a red mana. And then he's playing with Sedge Troll. Sedge Troll, of course, is really an X Points all-star. It is such a good creature, right? 1 red and 2 to cast for a 2/2 creature that gets +1/+1 if you control a swamp. So in a lot of cases, it's a 3/3 for 3, and then you can also regenerate it for 1 black. So it's really hard to kill. It's pretty big as well. It's really good, and it works together quite well with that 1 Earthquake in the deck, by the way. And then we also see a full playset of what many people think is the best creature in Old School Magic, and that is the Serra Angel. Serra Angel, 2 white and 3 to cast for a 4/4 flyer that doesn't have to tap when it attacks. And that simple little innocent ability makes this card so good. I mean, it's so difficult to play against it. And then when we're looking at that bottom row, we see some interesting cards in there. We see a Greed, which I really like. So 1 black and 3 for an enchantment. Pay a black, pay 2 life, draw a card. Yeah, you're getting greedy. You want to get all the stuff, but you're going to hurt yourself in the process. So he's pretty much more on black than with a lot of these strategies where they only put in black mana to enable that ability of the set. He's gone a little bit deeper into black, I guess. Well, not that much, only the Greed. But it's definitely an interesting include. Talking about interesting includes, we also see 1 Diamond Valley here in the deck, which I think is good. I think one of the things I've noticed about playing X Points is that there are a lot of decks that are playing with a lot of burn. And if you're going to face a lot of burn, you want to make sure you have some kind of life gain in your deck. So Diamond Valley, I really get it. It's a land from Arabian Nights. You can tap it, not for mana, but to sack a creature and then gain life equal to their toughness. This way you can kind of make your Granite Gargoyle into a red stream of life together with the Diamond Valley. So that's always kind of a funny combo, funny synergy when those things happen in the game. We also see a 1 of Fork. I love Fork, and I hope, Wouter, that you're going to show us why Fork is good in this match. That will be just a lot of fun. So yeah, this is looking like a solid deck from Wouter. This is going to be an interesting match, right? And I think one of the main things that I already really like about this match is that both players are playing with completely different colors. I'm saying this and then I realize that, of course, Joris is also playing black and Wouter's playing black. But I mean, Wouter's hardly in black. You know what I mean? So I think you get the gist. Both players are playing a completely different strategy. Maybe that's a better way of putting it. So both players playing a completely different strategy, but both players are playing a creature-heavy strategy, which means we're hopefully going to see a lot of interaction, and that's always fun, and we're going to see a lot of interesting combat moments, which is also a lot of fun. So I'm really looking forward to this match. Okay, enough talking. Time to go to the battle. This is round 1 of the Dutch X Points Open between Joris and Wouter. Let's go to the match. Game number 1, here we go, and look at that. Wouter here taking a mulligan. He's the player on white, red, and a little bit of black, so he's on the play apparently. So he's starting with just 6 in hand, now 5 after playing that land, passing the turn to Joris. And Joris is on a black-green strategy with Fungusaur and Pestilence. So I'm really looking forward to see both of those cards in action. I believe I already see a Fungusaur in his hand. He's starting here with a Birds of Paradise. Bolt the Bird! A quick Bolt the Bird, classic move by Joris. And I wonder if next turn he's going to deploy a Granite Gargoyle or a Sedge or something. Then we see a Mishra's Factory into a Sylvan Library. So Sylvan, the enchantment from Legends, going to allow Joris to take a peek at the top 3 cards, put them in order, and if he wants to, draw some extra cards as well. There's a Factory from the side of Wouter. Gonna tap 3. Are we gonna see a Gargoyle? There's a Granite Gargoyle 2/2 flyer, and you can give it +0/+1 for a red mana. And oh, we forgot the trigger actually. So that's probably what he's now asking, can I still look? And Wouter's like, yeah, of course, man. Do your thing. Usually, you know, the players are very relaxed. And it's also about how you ask it, you know what I mean? Like, or how often it happens. But anyway, Joris here looking, making a selection, not drawing an extra card, so staying on 20. Taking his time here. I wonder what his options are. We can see the hand, but we can't really see the hand. So there's the dual land, the Bayou. It taps for green or for black. Just looking at his options. I mean, Fungusaur is 4, Pestilence is 4. He's got a lot of 4-drops in his deck, actually. Urn of Djinn is 4. Deciding not to play anything passing the turn, also not attacking with that 2-2. Mishra's Factory makes sense. You could consider trading it for the Gargoyle, but then you also get behind with lands. You probably don't want to do that. There's another Plateau being played out by Wouter, by the way, and there's the attack. So first damage dealt in this game, Joris on 18. And there's a pass. No more creatures from Wouter. Ooh, I saw more Fungusaurs there on the top of the deck there for Joris. And I think that perhaps, because I believe he's got a regrowth in hand, perhaps he was thinking about regrowthing the Birds of Paradise. But I mean, Wouter has so much removal, it probably just gets killed again. There's a Pendelhaven. Are we going to see some 1/1s here? There's the Fungusaur. So a 2-2. 2-2 Fungusaur for 4. You can see Wouter reading the card. So it's a 2-2, and every time you deal, it gets damage. It gets a 1/1 counter after the damage resolves. So if you block it with the 2-2, it still dies. But if you just deal 1 damage to it, you can put a counter on it afterwards. It becomes a 3-3, and so forth. There we see a Plains from Wouter having enough mana now to potentially cast a Serra Angel, playing with a full playset in his deck. There he goes. Yep, I thought so. There's the Serra Angel 4/4 powerhouse. And yeah, this already could be problematic for Joris, all these flyers. And it just looks like his deck just needs some more time. But the question is he going to get that time? Next turn, he's looking at 6 damage through the air. We drop to 10. Having another look at the cards in hand. Drawing a card for turn. Little glitch on the line. There's a forest. What are we going to see next? Pestilence. He doesn't have the second black, though, to cast the Pestilence. So that's annoying. A Hurricane would be really good against the deck of Wouter, by the way. But I don't believe Joris is playing that card. I know he's not playing it main. Perhaps in the sideboard. Counting the lands. 5 in total. Tapping. Dark Ritual. Oh, perhaps he has a Drain Life? No. Okay, he is going to cast a Pestilence. I wonder... Yeah, so then he still has 1 black floating. So he could use that black to deal the damage to everything. Then the Fungusaur will become a 3/3 if he does. Yeah, that's what he does, because we can see Wouter here taking a damage. Yeah, unfortunately for Joris, he doesn't have another black mana, because then he could kill the Gargoyle. There's a regrowth on the Dark Ritual. So planning to use that one more time. And he's not even attacking. Oh yeah, of course, because of the Serra. Yeah. I was like, why are you not attacking? Well, because there's a 4/4 Serra Angel that can gobble up my Fungusaur, duh. Are we going to see a Swords to Plowshares here? No, we're going to see a Soul Ring. And I think that's always a difficult thing when you're playing against that white-red card combination. I was actually playing a white-red deck as well this day at the Dutch X-Points Open. And you then have access and to Swords and to Lightning Bolt. And that's just really, really good and really tough to play against. So I'm kind of expecting a Bolt or a Swords. Then again, Wouter's hand is getting pretty empty. Only 1 more card in hand. Good swing here for 6. Put Joris on 9. Yeah, exactly. That's what he does. Gonna put Joris on 9, not much that he can do about that. So dropping to 9, Wouter on 19. Yeah, it's not looking great here for Joris. What he really needs is if he can just get one more black basic, because he has a Dark Ritual in hand. No, he needs more black mana. What I'm thinking about is if he can cast a Drain Life on the Sarah Angel, he would kill the Sarah and gain 4 life. That would be really good for him. But he's kind of low on black sources. That's the problem for him at the moment. Even with that Dark Ritual in hand, he cannot make that play. So it's going to be difficult. If he can find that Initiates of the Ebb in hand, that will be helpful actually here. He could filter some lands into black mana. Going through his hand, I do see 1 forest there. That's not really going to help him though. Unless he has that Initiates. Another Fungusaur. Yeah, I mean, it's cool and all, but you're getting killed through the air. That is the big problem here. He does have a Dark Heart of the Wood, I believe, in the sideboard, so that could be an option for him to board in. I would even consider playing it main with the type of deck that he's playing. Ooh, he's going to do the Dark Ritual thing again. He's going to deal 1 damage first. Then everything gets a counter. Then he can do it again. I think that's probably what they're going to discuss now. The problem with these cards is you need to read like the current Oracle text. So what you do, you basically do 1 damage, let it resolve, then do 1 damage again, let it resolve, then do 1 damage again, let it resolve. Because every time you let it resolve, these Fungusaurs get a counter. And the mana, of course, stays in the pool for that phase. So let's say we're sitting exactly in the first main phase, so he does it all in the first main phase, and now he attacks. So yes, this means a lot of damage. But the problem here is that Joris is too low. He's now on 6. And we've got 6 damage through the air. So that's it. Wouter here winning the first game. But man, I've enjoyed watching these Fungusaurs. And yeah, let's hope after sideboarding that our Fungusaur friend, you know, finds some better cards, especially some more black mana. That would have been helpful for him. Anyway, this is the first game in the books. And of course, congratulations to Wouter for winning this first game. But it's not yet the match. So these players are going to dive into their sideboards. And we're going to catch back up with you in game number 2. Game number 2. Here we go. Look at that. Again, a mulligan for the white, red, black player for Wouter. And Joris now on the start. I don't believe he took a mulligan. Playing Initiates of the Ebb in hand. So this is the 1/1 creature from Fallen Empires. You can pay 1 generic mana, and then you get a black mana in return. There we see a Badlands. Would be nice for him if he could now just find a Pendelhaven. Make the creature bigger, attack, or maybe find a second black to cast to him. That would also be quite good. He's playing with 4 Hymn to Turex. Didn't see a single one in that first game. Gonna tap 2 black. No, a black and a forest. Oh, and then he can play, of course, to him because of the Initiates. Oh, love it. We've got Initiates action. I don't like the Hymn to Turek, by the way, but I love this play. And we're going to do it at random. So card 1's gone, and card... Well, it's got to roll the dice again. Card 2 is gone. A Lightning Bolt. Ooh, that is quite good. Lightning Bolt gone. And also a Plains gone. And remember, Wouter already took a mulligan, so that makes this really tough. A bad start for him, you know. 3 cards down already. Playing a Plains, passing the turn. At least he was on the draw, that's something. Attacking here for 1 again with the Initiates. Wouter dropping to 18. Joris finding more lands, passing the turn. No more pressure from him. It looks like a very land-heavy hand, by the way, for Joris there. Wouter there dropping a scrub land. A little bit in the tank here. I mean, 3 mana is usually quite good for him. He can start casting Sedge Trolls and Granite Gargoyles. Yep, there's a Sedge. 2/2 Sedge Troll. And I think it's quite safe to play it against this player because you don't have to worry about a Bolt, so you don't need that mana to regenerate the creature. Although, of course, he is playing with Drain Life. But then again, it's a 3/3. Anyway, we've seen Urnum Jin here, 4/5 powerhouse. Card originally from the Arabian Nights. This is a Antiquities, a Chronicles version, of course. And during your upkeep, you have to give target creature of your opponent Forest Walk. That's the downside, the drawback of the card, which isn't that much of a drawback. There's the pass, so now the Sedge is probably going to get Forest Walk. And I mean, this Sedge is a great blocker for Wouter because he can regenerate it. He is going to attack, but then we're probably going to see the block and the regeneration. Exactly, and if he now has a bolt, he can actually kill the Urnum. And now we are in second main, I guess. And there's another Urnum Djinn. Wow, so a lot of big creatures hitting the board for Joris. He wants to put full pressure on. Then the question is, can Wouter find some of his removal? He's playing with 4 swords to plowshares, of course. And he has that Sedge to block. So if he just has 1 sword, he's in the clear. So let's see what Wouter can do. Worst case scenario, he's going to take 4 damage next turn, passing the turn here, back. And I guess the Sedge is getting double Forest Walk. It's like a Forest Ranger now. And there are the 2 Urnums getting into the red zone, attacking here. Just to block and regenerate, going to take 4, going to drop to 14. And there's a Sylvan. Yeah, this is quite good for Joris. And I wonder if Joris is now going to use his Sylvan aggressively. Because he was quite conservative with it in that first game. But now that he's ahead and he's still on 20, could consider using it, using that extra card draw ability of the Sylvan in exchange for life. But first, of course, it's Wouter's turn here. If he can just find at least a second Sedge, that would be great. Okay, there's a strip. Tap a white. For a lion, though. For a moment, I thought there's going to be a swords, but it's a Savannah Lions. That's not going to do much. Gonna look at the top 3 cards of the deck. I mean, I would definitely take an extra card because then at least you have your value out of your Sylvan. Deciding just to take the 1 though. I do believe I see a regrowth or not. Is that a regrowth? Could go regrowth him. Yeah, exactly. Regrowth. Regrowth him to Turek. Play him to Turek. Ah! That is dirty. That is dirty. The thing is, when someone's playing Fungusaur Pestilence, I can kind of get a him, you know. I can take it. It doesn't make me salty. But it is tough to play against him to Turek here. Wouter losing his cards, losing his Sarah, disenchanting the Sylvan in response to the him. And there's the attack. And that's why with the Sylvan, if I'm in the lead, if I'm on a high life total like Joris, I would always use it to at least draw an extra card, because then it's replaced itself and it had some value. You know what I mean? Anyway, there's the attack. Ooh, some glitches on the line. But, ooh, this is not great. Okay, we're back. For a moment there, I was worried. But we're back. That's good news. And it's not looking good, by the way, for the Wouter, who's on 13. Playing the Granite Gargoyle, passing the turn back. And I mean, if you're Joris here, just put your Urnum sideways. You can probably at least deal some more damage. Although, of course, Wouter could consider double blocking here. So we could be in for an interesting combat phase. There's the attack, but even if it's a double block, I would still attack as well. I mean, if he double blocks on the Sedge and the Gargoyle, you can kill the Gargoyle and still deal 4. Yeah, this is tough for Wouter. I mean, the line says he could choose to double block, right, and kill 1. Yeah, I think I would go for that as well, because then you have your Sedge again. So there's the trade. And now Joris at least deals 4, but now Wouter has a blocker again. There's a Whirling Dervish. So it's a 1/1 protection from black. And when it deals damage to an opponent, it gets a +1/+1 counter. But the problem here for Joris is that Sedge Troll is not black. Another Sedge Troll. Wow, great top deck here for Wouter. And yeah, we're kind of in a stalemate situation here. Wouter, of course, being on 20 still, being on 9, and Joris still being on 20. I mean, if you're Joris, what you really want to draw is you want to draw into your Pestilence. Because then if you use Pestilence for 3, you're forcing Wouter to regenerate the sedges. And then when you regenerate a creature, it gets tapped. And then you can attack. Gonna play another Swamp and pass the turn. Kind of land flooded here. Both players drawing a lot of lands this turn. There's the pass back to Wouter. Wouter having 2 cards in hand now. 2 cards in hand also for Joris. Pass of the turn. Three cards. One of them is an Initiates, I believe. Perhaps another land there in hand as well. Tapping 2. Another Whirling Dervish, yeah. It's not really what you're looking for if you're Joris. Passing the turn to Wouter. So can Wouter kind of, get back into this? Can he maybe even win it still? And remember, one of those sedges has Forest Walk, so is unblockable. The problem, of course, for Wouter is if he decides to attack with that single sedge, then, Joris can start attacking with all his creatures. And yes, he'll probably... Well, he won't lose one actually in the process, because then Wouter will have to block probably the Urnham. So attacking here is not really a good option for Wouter. Here we see another Hymn to Turak. Wow. There's a Terror though. Gonna lose 2 lands. Yeah, so the Hymns are kind of doing their job, but Joris just needs other stuff, and now he's lost his other Urnham as well. Probably the Terror coming in from the sideboard, by the way. A good card, of course, against the Fungusaurs and against the Urnhams. So there we do see a Drain Life in hand. But the Drain Life is not going to help him against the Sedges. Does, of course, have that Initiates of the Ebb in hand that can make more black mana for him. But it's not enough to kill him. Ooh, he's got a Dark Ritual in hand. Okay, so he's kind of thinking, how much mana can I make? Oh no, it's another Initiates. I thought it was a Dark Ritual. Wishful thinking perhaps from my side here. So he has that Drain Life in hand. We know that. That's his only card. And Wouter now passing the turn with 1 card in hand also. Gonna tap 2. What are we gonna see? Another Whirling Dervish. Oh my. These Dervishes can be great, but it's not really what you want at this moment in the game. There's another land. Is he gonna attack with he is gonna attack with everything. Yeah, because he knows at least 1 Dervish will hit, and then it will get a +1/+1 counter. I get this. Also because Joris has that Drain Life. There's a Swords to Plowshares. So Joris is going to go to 21. The creature, of course, should be removed. Blocking the other 2 Dervishes. He's going to go to 7. Oh, he's going to pump another Initiates up with the Pendelhaven. He could deal 3 damage, put him on 6. And then he could potentially win, I believe, next turn with the Drain Life. Could he? Yes, I think he can. Oh, wow. So this is really good magic by Joris going all out. Also with that Pendelhaven, knowing he could put Wouter here on probably a low enough life total to next turn win it with the Drain Life. So next turn is going to be very interesting. And I think if you're Wouter, you should also kind of worry that he did this. You're like, does he have something? Does he have that Drain Life? Of course, he didn't see a Drain Life in game 1, but he probably can guess that your opponent is playing with a card like Drain Life in the type of deck that Joris is playing with. So he is stripping the Pendelhaven here. Is that enough? I think it is actually, because now Joris doesn't have enough lands anymore to win it with that Drain Life. It was, oh, he's drawing another land. Yep, that's it. Now he can win. Just look at that. Remember, you can turn all the green mana into black mana, and then he has exactly 6 to win it. Get that fist bump here by Wouter. And it's a 1-1 between these 2 players. And what an exciting first match here at the Dutch Open. These players are going to shuffle up, and we will catch back up with them. That's what I'm trying to say. In the old decisive game number 3. Game number 3. Here we go. Wouter on the play, starting with his Savannah lines. Look at that, and he didn't took a mulligan here. So the first time for him that he didn't have to take a mulligan in this matchup. We see a Birds of Paradise by Joris. So both players kind of doing what they want to do in their first turn. The question is, does Joris have a bolt here to bolt the bird? No, he doesn't. For a moment there, I thought he's going to play it out, but it's another Savannah Lines. Not too bad for him, though. There we see another land. So it's got the birds, a swamp, and a forest. What can he do here? Ooh, Hypnotic Spectre, 2/2 flyer. Then the question is, do you want to trade your hippie for a Savannah Lines? Kind of doubt it. But then again, it does mean you're looking at 4 more points of damage. And that's exactly what happens. Joris here dropping to 14. Wouter putting more pressure on the board in the form of a Granite Gargoyle. And that's really good because he can use the Gargoyle also to block the Hypnotic Spectre. And again, an interesting decision to make for Joris. Exactly, he's going to attack, offering the trade. And I think this is a good decision by both players. Because, of course, next turn Wouter can untap and he can pump the Gargoyle. There's a forest, but of course if Wouter says I take the damage, he loses a card. So I can see this exchange from both players. There's the Urnham hitting the board, 4/5, that's pretty good. That can stop the lion. Do remember though that in his upkeep, Joris has to give one of the lions Forest Walk. Wouter still on 20, of course. There's another Scrubland. Gonna tap 3. Yeah, another flyer. Then, of course, he's going to give the flyer here Forest Walk to 2/2 Granite Gargoyle. Joris drawing his card for turn. He's on 14. Wouter still on 20. Game number 3, the big decider here. It looks like he is going to go into the red zone here with the creature. There he goes. I think if you're Wouter, you're probably just going to take the damage here. You're still on a healthy 20. Who's going to put a line in front? And there's a Fungusaur and a Birds of Paradise. I believe he also needs to tap his own birds to cast it. Yep. That's correct. And passing the turn. Let's see what Wouter can do. He's going to bolt the Fungusaur, not the bird. Makes sense here to go for the Fungusaur. It's looking pretty good for Wouter here, to be honest. I guess a problem could... I mean, is that a problem, though? I mean, Joris is solo. I want to say the problem could be that Urnham, but do you really care? I don't think so. Just keep attacking. We see a jump here by the birds, meaning 4 more damage for Joris. He's going to drop to 10. Exactly. Looked like he only took 2 damage there. Needs to take 4. Going to go to 10. There's a Plains and a Pass. So, I mean, the hand of Wouter is empty. That's the good news for Joris. Gonna get Forest Walk again to the flyer. I mean, another Urnham would be really good for Joris. Gonna attack there. Gonna put Wouter on 16. Initiates of the Ebon Hand and a Fungusaur. So just more creatures, which is actually quite useful. Because it means it's harder for Wouter to just push through and keep dealing more damage. Can of course fly over again with the Gargoyle, which I'm sure he's going to do. Could fly over, put Joris on 8. I think if you're Wouter, you're really kind of hoping for Sarah Angel. That would be really good, or just for removal. Oh, look at that, also animating the factory. Gonna go really aggressive here, offering a potential trade for Joris. There he goes. Going to trade the creatures here. 2 damage for Joris. Going to drop to 8. And there's another land in the pass. Yeah, I think... I'm not sure if I would have done this if I would have been Wouter. It's hard though. Maybe I would have kept those 2 creatures at bay. Anyway, here we see some more glitches, but also another Birds of Paradise. And that Birds is just a really good chump blocker, and every time you chump block, it's going to buy you time. I'm actually surprised that Joris here is taking the damage. I would probably just chump with one of the Birds. Then again, you're still on 6. You're still safe. Oh, of course, the stupid me, the Gargoyle has Forest Walk still from the Urnham. You tend to forget that, so Joris can't even block it here. Ooh, there's a Swords. This is a pretty big deal, this Swords to Plowshares. Joris is going to go to 10. There's a Whirling Dervish. This is an exciting final game, by the way. Remember, it's 1-1, game number 3. There's also a time limit to these games. I believe after 50 minutes, you're going to play the last 5 turns. And Wouter only finding lands here from the top. Has to make a decision now. If he attacks with the 2-2 flyer, Joris can jump with the Birds and then attack with the Whirling Dervish, which will turn into a 2-2. So I think you don't want to attack here with the Gargoyle. You just want to keep it at blocking duty. And the good news for Joris here is that he has more cards in hand. Oh, there's a Pestilence. That could be quite good in combination with the Whirling Dervish. Remember, the Dervish has protection from black. So next turn, he could consider killing the Gargoyle and then attack with the Dervish. Ooh, he's going to attack now already. I don't think he has enough, though, because Wouter has 2 red mana available, could make the Gargoyle into a 2-4. So even if he attacks, he cannot kill the Gargoyle. So I think it's better to just keep it at bay here. Joris is making the same conclusion, passing the turn back here to Wouter. Man, this is an exciting stuff. Top decking. Are we going to see a disenchant? Oh, there's a disenchant from the top of the deck. That is pretty big. That makes such a difference here. That disenchant is really kind of saving Wouter here. There's the pass. Just to buy you. So both players in top decking mode. And again, if you're Wouter, you know, Sarah Angel would be so good right now. He's playing with the full playset. If you can just find a Sarah. And I think if you're Joris, what kind of card are you looking for? Perhaps another Pestilence? Passing the turn here again, just finding lands. There's a Hymn to Turek. Yeah, not going to do that much. Another land gone out of the hand of Wouter. And here you can see like a late game top deck Hymn is not really that strong. I mean, Hymn really shines early in the match. There's another land. Wow, at least it's a man land. It's a Mishra's Factory. That's something. More cards here for Wouter. More lands as well. Bad lands hitting the board, passing the turn. There's another Whirling Dervish. Again, it's not too bad. At a certain point, you will have so many creatures, it's worth to do like kind of an all-out attack. Ooh, there's a Fireball there, I believe. Fireball makes it interesting. You could say, I'm just going to wait up until I can do a lethal Fireball. Or you can get rid of some 1/1s. Now Wouter is in the tank after drawing that Fireball. I believe it was a Fireball. And the other card may be a land. So he could play a Fireball for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He can play a Fireball for 7. If that's a card in hand, he can play a Fireball for 8. That would put Joris on 2. So not lethal. Another thing he can do, of course, is spread the love with the Fireball. Kill all those 1/1s. I mean, if that's a land in hand, he could play a Fireball, could do 1 damage on each creature. Right? Because he has 8 or 9 mana available. But yeah, do you really want to do that? Because even if you do that, yes, then you can attack with the Gargoyle. You can put Joris on 8. But then Joris, of course, has his Mishra's Factory, can start attacking you as well. Ooh, it's not a land. I thought it was a land, but it's not a land. It's a city in a bottle. I'm not really sure why he plays a city in a bottle. You're just going to lose your own city of brass. And there we see a Pendelhaven, and yes, a lot of glitches on the line, but I don't want to stop looking now. It is quite annoying, but okay, we're back. There's the attack. So he found a Pendelhaven, went for a full-out attack, and then, of course, going to Pendelhaven the Dervish so that it doesn't die. Then 2 more damage for Wouter on 11. This is a very exciting match here. Is that a Fireball? No, that's a Savannah Alliance. And Wouter's being really patient with that Fireball, knowing how close he is. Is he going to fire it off now, tapping the Badlands? I mean, he could deal 2 damage to 2 targets with the Fireball. There's the Fireball. Oh, so he's just going to deal 1 to 3 different targets. Passes the turn. Interesting decision. You could have, one of the lines you could have followed here as well after killing the targets is attack with the Gargoyle, put Joris on 8. Okay, he's going to do that now. Yeah, for a moment I thought he was passing the turn. Yeah, then you're going to put him on 8, passing the turn. I wonder if he's going to animate the factory now. You can do Savannah Lines on the Dervish, take 2 from the factory, drop to 9. Exactly what's going to happen here. There's the animate. I wonder how he's going to block. You really don't want that Dervish to get into a 3-3. Exactly. Going to block it, going to drop to 9. So it's 9 against 8. Oh, this is an exciting game 3. And look at that dice there. Only 5 more turns. Oh, no. Is this going to be a draw here? That first turn ended. So you see that dice there at the top of the table. That's on 4. It means 4 more turns. There's the attack. Joris on 6. What's that card in hand? Look like a black card or not? Was it a greed? Anyway, there's the pass. So 3 more turns to go. He's probably going to animate, swing in, put Wouter on 7. There's a Fungusaur. And now this is the last turn of Wouter. So if he wants to win the game, needs to top deck a Fireball. Fireball can give him the win. 2 cards in hand. I don't believe it's a Fireball, else he would have slammed it on the table. And that means that the best result that Wouter can get out of this is a draw. This is the last turn of Wouter. We see the dice there on 2. The last chance for him to try to make this into a victory at the Dutch X Points Open. 50 players in total battling for the title today. 1 turn left, passing the turn back to Joris, and for Joris it's his last chance. Wouter on 7. He can animate attack and at least deal 2, put Wouter on 5, but it's not going to be enough. And that's it. 2 forces in hand. It is a draw between these 2 players, and it was a greed there in hand. And wow. Yeah, a draw here between the players. Showing that, yeah, that he could have used the greed maybe, but it wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have mattered at all. So it is a 1-1 here. Well, yeah, it's a 1-1. So it's a draw here in the first round of the Dutch X Points Open. Now, if you've enjoyed this match as much as I did, please consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. Leaving a like, leave a comment, and share this on your socials. All these things are free and really help the channel move forward. And of course, next week, I will be back with more action from the X Points Open here in the Netherlands. And wow, yeah, that was, I like this game. I loved it. Thank you, Joris and Wouter, for showing your skills here on the channel. And if you enjoy what I do, if you enjoy the content that I make, please consider becoming a patron of the show as well. You can check out my Patreon program on patreon.com/Timmy Talks. And one of the perks of becoming a patron is that your name will be mentioned in the end scroll at the end of every single video. What end scroll? This end scroll.
What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? What shall we do with the drunken sailor? Early in the morning. Way, hey, and up she rises. Way, hey, and up she rises. Way, hey, and up she rises. Early in the morning. Put him in the longboat until he's sober. Put him in the longboat until he's sober. Put him in the longboat
Sumba Kazee.